KDJ's weekly picks on game day one are brought to you by Veolia and White Plains Hospital.
Happy Halloween to those who still celebrate. It is our Week 8 playoff picks here for the Section 1 postseason as we get ready. I am not in costume, but I am going to masquerade here as someone who can see the future and try and predict who's going to advance to the semifinals and maybe go on and play for a section championship. We go with all three classes, Class AA, A, and Class B, all getting going this weekend. We will start with Class AA, and I don't think there's going to be real surprises, not with the teams at the top. I think North Rockland, they take on RCK in the opening round, number 1 seed, Red Raiders coming in. We know what North Rockland has offensively, Jaquan Johnson, all the talent he has around him. I don't see North Rockland getting beat here. I think they go on, they beat RCK 31-14 to advance to the semifinal as the number 1 seed. I also think Scarsdale. I think Scarsdale in their matchup with Austin. I think Austin's defensively is just terrific, and they're going to give Scarsdale some fits. But this matchup that they have and what they do offensively for the Raiders, is very difficult if you haven't seen a team run the triple option all year, which Austin has not. It's going to be tough for them to stop it. I think Scarsdale goes out. They win 28-7 in a game that's probably a little closer than that score would indicate. Now we move on to our other two Class AA matchups, our quarterfinals, and we'll start with Suffern and Mamaroneck. Yes, Mamaroneck, obviously in the regular season, beats Suffern, beats them 21-7 at home, really shut them down. Can Suffern get shut down again? That's really the question. This Mamaroneck team has had their ups and their downs. Both teams have really been up and down all season long. Mamaroneck coming off a loss to John Jay's Fishkill. Maybe that was just kind of their getting themselves ready for the postseason. Seeds are already locked in. They go out now. They were my preseason pick, so I'm not going to pick them to lose in the first round. I do think they go back and forth game down to the wire. I think Mamaroneck finds a way late. They win this game 21-20, 1-point game. Going to go for 2, maybe Suffering late in the game. They're a gambling team, but I do think Mamaroneck holds on and wins. And then we get the rematch of last year's Class AA championship. That is Carmel taking on Arlington. Carmel, we talked about Brian McGrory as one of my MV3s for the regular season. Him throwing the football. Can Arlington stop them? You know, Arlington is also a team that's gotten so much better as the years gone on. And my conversations with Mike Morano, the head coach of Arlington throughout the season, he said, we haven't clicked yet. And then they sort of clicked against Suffern, beating Suffern at home. Obviously, last week losing. I do think that they are a team that goes into the postseason really, compared to last year, nothing to lose for this team, and that makes them extremely dangerous. I don't think they beat Carmel, but I think Jaden Tuttle and the offensive weapons that they have here for Arlington will put a little scare into the Rams, into the 3-time defending champions, but I think Carmel wins. They hold on for a 28-21 win. Let's go to Class A now, where we at the top, same deal. We have two teams that are decisive favorites, Somers and Rye in their matchup. I don't think either one of them gets beat. I think Somers takes care of Clarkstown South somewhat easily. They win this game 28-12. I think the South's defense has been really good. The guys in the middle of this defense will shut down the running lanes for Somers. They're going to go to the air. They're going to do their damage through the air. But I don't think that South can score enough to beat Somers. So I think the Tuskers will advance, two-time defending state champions, and also defending state champions, well, last year in Class B, now in Class A. Rye, I think that they take care of Brewster. I know I said it a little bit on the broadcast, and I said it this week as well, that I don't know if Rye has completely clicked yet as a team, not since their Week 0 win over Farrell, where they looked really good in the second half. I think they're going to start to click. This is when they started to click last year in the postseason. I think they click. They win 28-13 over Brewster. Two other really good matchups in Class A. Yorktown going to welcome in Eastchester. Eastchester, Vin Chaffone, leading this offense, running the football so well all season long. I've talked about him a lot in our weekly 5 stars. Can they line up and run the football against Yorktown? That was something that's, when I watched Rye last week, 2 weeks ago, they didn't do so effectively or not efficiently enough. I think Eastchester's going to have a tough time running the football against Yorktown. They're going to have to beat Yorktown through the air. And when you look at the skill talent, Caden Gonzalez, Tyler Galante, I just don't know how Eastchester stops them enough. And one thing I like to see maybe in the postseason is, can Yorktown run the football well against a good defensive team like Eastchester? I think that we have Yorktown winning. They move on with a 24-7 victory. And then our other Class A matchup is Harrison taking on Mahopac. You know, the Huskies, this is tough. I think a lot of people are going to assume that Mahopac's going to go out there. The North League was tougher than the South League. That's what everyone says every single year. And that Mahopac will go on the road and beat Harrison. I think Harrison last week They get beat by Rye. They lose 24-0, but they didn't look that bad defensively. They look really good defensively in a lot of ways. They just can't cover all the options that Rye has on offense because very few teams can. Mahopac has Jack Clifford. They can run the football well. Divukai has thrown the ball well throughout the course of the season, but I think this Harrison defense is up for the challenge. I think they win a very low-scoring game. 14-13, they beat Mahopac. These two teams have had some really good battles over the years. I think Harrison wins. They move on to the semifinals. Now we go on to Class B. Very similar here as well. Two teams at the top. Westlake and Bronxville, I think, are considerable favorites. I think Westlake knocks off Nanuet 34-7. And Bronxville, they're just too big and too strong up front for Rye Neck. I think they're going to win that game 35-7. So those two top seeds are moving on in the postseason. And then we look now at our other two Class B matchups, Pleasantville and Byram Hills. They met a few weeks ago. Byram Hills stunned Pleasantville. Tyler Mariscott returned that punt for a touchdown. They win it. Two very evenly matched teams. And when that happens, it's very difficult to beat the same team twice. Rival programs. Obviously, there's a lot of, I don't want to say bad blood, but there's a good rivalry between the two programs. I think Pleasantville goes out and they win this game 24-21. And then our last matchup for the Section 1 playoffs, Pearl River and Ardsley. They met a couple weeks ago. Pearl River won a close game at home. Pearl River back home again in this game. TJ Lanise, terrific all season long. Anton Amundsman has also been very strong running the football for Pearl River. I think the Pirates again win. Ardsley has been in close games all season long. I think they lose another heartbreaker. They lose 28-21. So our semifinals, I think, are set. Go enjoy your Halloween. We'll see you soon.